Alright, so in this video we're going to take a look at this Voronoi diagram question. It's worth 12 marks. And so it says a king rules a small mountain kingdom, which is in the form of a square and has lengths of 4 kilometers, right? So it's just this darker square. The square has the coordinates of 0 to 4 and 0 to 4, right, in the x and y directions. The king has 4 adult children, each of which has a luxury palace located at points shown down here. Each child owns all the land nearest to the point of the palace. And so it says, let's sketch a Voronoi diagram that represents this information. So to sketch a Voronoi diagram, you just need to draw the perpendicular bisectors. So between A and B, the perpendicular bisector is this. Between B and C, it's that. Between C and D, it's the same one. Between A and D, it's the same one there. Right, so the Voronoi diagram just looks like this. You can shade these different regions to show that each one has a different area, right? So that's our Voronoi diagram for the first one. The perpendicular bisector, we didn't have to find the equations of the lines because they're just vertical and horizontal. So it doesn't say to find the equations, it says just sketch it. So part B says the king has a fifth youngest child who is now just growing up. He installs her new palace situated at 2, 2. So there's new palace here, at 2, 2. Call that E, A, B, C, D, E. The rule about ownership of land is reapplied, meaning that they own the land that is closest to them. And so now it says, let's sketch the Voronoi diagram of this new one. And so if we were to think about it, I would now have to look at the perpendicular bisectors between like D and E and C, between E and B, and between A and E. So it kind of creates this shape. But what I can do, I need the other eraser. Right, so what I'm actually finding is these pieces, right? And I can take away some of these lines to make it easier to see that this shape is the only part that's closest to E. And then the Voronoi diagrams continue up like this to split up their regions. Right, so I have these regions. I don't need to shade them all, but I have that one, I have that one, that one, I have that one, and then the white one in the middle. Right, so this represents the new Voronoi diagram. That's what you'd have to sketch. Part C says state the name of the shape of the land owned by the youngest child. So this is a square. It's just a rotated square. This is a square because all the side lengths are the same, right? It's all symmetrical. So you can look at this and say that's a square. Find the area of the youngest child's land. Well, that's going to require me to do a distance formula. So for example, I could just get one of the sides. So this point is 1, 2, and this point is 2, 3. So let's find the distance between those. So the distance is square root of x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared. Right, the formula might actually be switched, but it doesn't matter what you're subtracting. So it's the difference in the x's. So 2 minus 1 squared plus the difference in the y's, 3 minus 2 squared. So that's square root of 1 squared plus 1 squared is 2. So the distance is root 2. So that's the length of this line. That's 2 root 2, or not 2 root 2. It's just root 2. Just root 2 is that distance. And if I want the area of that, well, it's a square. So the area is root 2 squared. So it's 2 kilometers squared. I assume we're in kilometers. Yeah, by kilometers. Right. So, okay, we've got an area of 2 kilometers squared. So it says find how much land is, find out how much land an older child owns. So basically, like the pink section or the blue section or the yellow or the green, right? Those are all the older. And so we can see that for that one, for E. The area of an older child is 2 times 2, right? Like that creates this, but then I have to take away, well, what's the area of that? Well, that's 1/4 of the middle child's land, so minus 1/4 of 2. And so it's 4 minus 1/2. So it's 3.5 kilometers, 3.5 kilometers. Right, so that's how much each of these shapes are. So there to there to there to there to there. That's 3.5 kilometers. And then F says state with a reason if all 5 children now have an equal amount of land. Well, no, because we can clearly see that the youngest child has less, right? So it's basically asking you to state, let's double check what they want for these marks. Yeah, I guess you could show something. You'd say, no, the youngest child has less land than the older ones because they have 2 kilometers and the others have 3.5 kilometers. Right, so that's my reason.